All right, you guys, welcome to the Hive Huddle. I'm so excited. I love getting to see everybody on Wednesday nights. We're like scattered all over. As you can see in the chat, people are moving, people are vacationing, people are relaxing, doing all the things. And how amazing that we can hop on for like 30 to 40 minutes, come together, fill our cups, learn. You guys, tonight you will definitely probably want to have a little notebook because we are going to pick Jamie's mind and brain and all the things. And I was saying it to Jamie, I'm like, she is on a hot run. And honestly, when you've been in this business for a long time, and you guys know, like, there's no like, oh my gosh, like, you're like wanting to know how people are getting to where they're at. But it's so crazy. Once you've been doing a business like this, I always tell people, I'm like, when you see people climbing and doing that stuff, you get so excited for them because you know what it takes to get there, right? And you know how long people are doing it behind the scenes before you really start seeing it. So I'm sure that you've heard her name entered in like top enrollments. If you were in conference, you saw her highlighted. She probably has one of the most viral before and afters that there is. Jamie, holy freaking cow. We were doing the 30-day drop together, which was super, super fun. And you just continued. So we're excited to hear all about that. But she's a presidential diamond. I'm not going to tell her story, but she's been in for 8 years. Jamie, you may know this, but I've been in for 12. So it's so fun to see like how long people have been here. So just start and tell us a little bit about your story, how you found it works, kind of your journey with it. I know it's really hard. You don't have to say it in a minute, Jamie, because I literally hate when somebody's like, tell us your 1 minute story. And I'm like, mine's 12 years. So we would just love to know how you got started with everything and kind of your journey with it and how you got to Presidential Diamond.
Yeah, definitely.
So
You probably
I
know
gotta figure out how to
Oh, hold on, I'm gonna
that
mute.
works.
Oh, shoot. Oh,
when you realize you're not unmuted or
I
when
know.
you're
I
muted and
always
you're like,
panic for people, you guys. Sometimes you guys, I just have to tell you this one really quick thing. But one time we were like trying to scream in the chat, but somebody was like putting self tanner on, and I'm like, I don't think she ever wanted to come on a Zoom again. So I try to like mute or tell people
you
all
know
the
what I
things.
do? If on the right side, I don't know if you do this, but I click mute all and it will mute all and it does not allow anyone to unmute themselves unless you allow it for them. Like right on the right side underneath like participants or like above the chat or whatever, normally you can put like mute all and then they can't unmute themselves. Like if they're jumping on, they automatically get muted. So then they're not like jumping on and then they're unmuted.
Yeah, they're like totally spotlight. They're on a spotlight, right? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I'm gonna look for that. But okay,
Okay,
you go
I
ahead.
got it.
I found it. I found it.
Oh,
Oh no, now
there you go.
here we go. Here we go. We're ready.
You
Okay.
probably know Crystal Pearl, who is one of my uplines. She's been in for like 13 years or something like that. Her and Christina Treat, they're one of my uplines way up yonder.
Yes.
So and I actually did not meet them till just like a couple of years ago. So I didn't know about them. My upline that I had quit after about a year. And so I had no resources whatsoever. And so finally, after a couple of years, I like went and I searched. I'm like, I want an upline of some sort, maybe. And so I went and I searched and I found her. So that was super cool. But okay, hi guys. I'm so excited for this. I have been in 8 years now. And for me, it's been a crazy ride. I will say that. I feel like I've just learned so much, but the thing I've learned most is like myself. And like the confidence you see today is not the person who joined 8 years ago. You would never see me on a Zoom. I was never one of those girls. I probably would have blacked out. I had no idea like how to speak in front of people. And so I just want you to know, don't ever play the comparison game. If you're on a Zoom tonight and you're like, wow, like she has so much confidence, she knows what she's talking about. 8 years did this to me. Like really, truly diving in and going all in with this business has truly changed my entire life. And so if you take anything out of this, take the belief that I'm giving you. Take the belief the size of the mustard seed. I've always been told that by Stacey Alcala is like just a mustard seed is going to change your entire life. And that's what I did. So when I joined, so I'm from Minnesota, small town girl, farm girl, actually. I grew up, I graduated with 38 people. Okay. I'm from a tiny town in Minnesota. And for me, it was like everyone and their dog had already did this business. I'm curious if you're the same way. So for me, I watched for an entire year before I joined. One of my best friends at the time, she was doing this business. And I remember just watching her and be like, nah, whatever you're doing, like that's cool, but like you're not actually making the money. And which it's just so crazy because I was trying to, it wasn't that I was trying to tell her to not do it, but I know I was uneducated, but I just was afraid that she was going to lose out money like I had heard from so many people. Like I remember my dad saying that one of his friends had a closet full of product that he never made money. And I was like, don't be one of those girls. Don't be one of those girls that post all over and then they don't make money. And like it was out of love. So if you ever get negative like feedback from someone, no, it's not them being negative. It's maybe out of love. Because that was for me. And I was very uneducated about it. And so I remember telling her, like, I remember she was showing me her paychecks, like put in the IDS income, but like she was showing me her $21,000 paychecks in 1 month. And I was like, yeah, like that's cool, but you probably have to give half of that for product. You probably have to like put half. How was I to talk? I wasn't even joined at that point. How would I even know? But I remember like going through those motions. And I remember just one random night after a year, she had like said she was going for some $10,000 bonus or something. And I was like, cool, if you get that, I'll join. And guys, she did it. And I was like, oh no, I'm not ready yet. Like, I remember she just kept coming back to me. So I'm curious if anyone's like that. Drop a number one. If you watched, if you were one of those who were like those little creepers who were like me, who just watched but never commented, never like said anything, but you were just always maybe wondering, okay, maybe I could maybe do that. And so one random night I texted her, I said, okay, hey, I'm going to do it. You have me, you have the next 10 minutes. If you sign me up, I'm in. But if you don't sign me up in the next 10 minutes, I'm not doing it. And she was like, all right, let's do it. And I said, okay, I'm scared. And so I did it. And guys, I did not do anything. I signed up and I did not post. I remember posting one time, and I have 3 older brothers and they ate me alive. They were so mean to me. I got such negative feedback that I immediately shut down and I said, nope, this ain't for me. Nope, I don't want to do this. I am from a small town. Everyone has already failed. I am not going to be good at this. And so I immediately quit because I was so afraid of what other people were going to think of me that I wasn't willing to give myself a try. So I spent $99 and did absolutely nothing. And so I actually went to a green carpet in Florida. Okay. And I was a nanny for this girl. Remember the girl that my best friend at the time who did this business? She needed a nanny. She said she'd pay for my plane ticket down to Florida. And I was already a distributor, so I could just go with her. And I said, okay, I'm Dutch. I'm 100% Dutch. So I was like, yes, this is for me. I went as her nanny. And at the time she was a presidential diamond. So I got to go into all the VIP entrances. I got to do all the bougie things, all the private parties, hang out with Pam Souter. If you know, you know. Like it was so cool. And I remember like after I left that, I said, I want that. Like I want whatever she has. Like I want to feel that way. I want to feel like I want to make a name for myself. At the time I was working, I mean, that's a big part of my story. At the time I had moved down to Texas from Minnesota to Texas. I graduated with a double degree. I was a nurse and I was working night shift labor and delivery in Dallas, Texas. It was a very big change. And I remember just saying, there's got to be something more, right? Like if she was making $21,000 in a month, I could at least make $100. I remember having to ask my dad. I remember like I didn't realize the big change in amounts of money. And so I remember when I grew up in South Dakota, Minnesota, it was like, okay, you have $800 rent. I remember going down to Dallas and for a 1 bedroom, it was like $1,800 by myself. And so like, yes, I was making okay, good money as a nurse, but like it still wasn't paying the bills by myself. And so I would have to call my dad and ask my parents for money. And I hated that. I am so independent. I hate asking for help. And so I remember like feeling so just like defeated every time I would ask for help. And so I just kept thinking, there's got to be something more. There's got to be something more. So when I went to this event, I came back and I said, you know what? I'm ready to go all in. Like I'm going to try whatever you have. Like I'm going to try it because that looked like so much fun. And guys, this business knew I needed it before I knew I needed it. And actually, it was about 2 months after that I found out I was pregnant. It was not planned whatsoever. And so for me, I was like, okay, I can't even support myself, let alone a child. So, like, I got to do something. And I remember putting my blinders on and I said, I don't care. I'm going all in. I don't care what it takes. I know what this business can do. And I was working night shift. I was doing all the things. I'm working full time, pregnant, so I wasn't even able to use half the products. And I just took the belief the size of the mustard seed. Whatever I saw other people doing, I was doing. I was copying all the right cats. Any names that were being mentioned at the time, I was ignorance on fire. I was like, if you would go to the Road to VIP and you would see those names, I was following them. I was doing anything they were doing, the story slides they were doing. I was taking them, doing them my own. The posts they were doing, I was taking them. I would take the same selfie in the same angle that they were doing, and I was making it my own. I literally was doing what they were doing because I knew this business could do that for me, but I also knew I had to put in my end. I had to put in the behind the scene action that not a lot of people like to do. They like to put in the action when you're on a power hour or when you're called out like, "Hey, go send 10 messages." But I was doing the things without being asked, and I think that was so huge. And so within 9 months, I was able to replace my full-time income at the hospital. 1 month later, I had my son, and I was a diamond at the time, and I remember I was like, "I'm going all in." I had already seen a $2,000 paycheck. I said, "Okay, I know the money's for real." I said, "I am going all in." So I remember my boss calling me and saying, "All right, Jamie, you have 6 weeks maternity leave, and we're ready to have you back." And I said, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to miss out on my child's life. Like, I want to have those memories myself. And so I went all in with this business. And about 2 years later, I kind of sat at Diamond for a while because growing up in a small town, when you see a consistent $2,000 a month, like, that's it. That's all I needed. I had never seen anything more than that. Like, growing up, $15 an hour, that was beyond what I needed to like live fine. And I was just living very comfortable. I never had anything more. I wasn't saving more, but like that was comfortable for me. And that's what I wanted. And so I remember like at one point I was like, okay, like maybe I can start doing a little more. So it was about 2 years later, I went double diamond. I remember seeing a $5,000 paycheck and I called my mom. I was like, "Mom, this is crazy. I saw a $5,000 paycheck in 1 month." I went ruby. In August, I was paid as ruby. And in September, I was paid as a double diamond. Okay, like crazy. And then it was about a year after that, I went triple diamond. And about 2 years after that, I went presidential diamond as a team. And it was so crazy because, like, you can get to diamond yourself. Like, I will say that if you work your butt off, you can get to diamond yourself, but you can't get to VIP by yourself. You can't get there alone. You have to do it with a team. And so I think along the way, I've really learned a lot about myself. I've had to learn a lot about leadership because I had no idea how to lead other people. I am ignorance on fire for myself. I can lead myself, but I didn't know how to lead other people. And I didn't want to just like run over them with my like red personality. And so I had to really learn how to have like the compassionate, caring side and really show people how to do this business. So that was it in a nutshell in 15 minutes.
That's okay. You know what though? It's so good for people to hear where people come from and where they're starting and the thoughts that they started with because y'all, nobody joins this thinking like I am so equipped to do this. I know I can succeed. Like none of us. We're all thinking like what the heck are we seriously doing? But the one thing we all have in common is we have hope for more. And whatever stage we're in, I always say I'm like I was not like in the depths of despair when I joined this. I just knew where my growth was and where it was stopped. Same thing, working at the hospital as a nurse, night shift. And I was just like, you know what? Like I'm young. I want to keep going, and I didn't want to have to be married to the hospital to do that. I was like, I don't want that anymore. And so it's so good. And the thing that I want you guys to know too is like she didn't jump in and get started right away, right? Like drop a one in the comment too if you were like, "Oh yeah, I was terrified of what people would think." Or maybe you had somebody make a comment and all of a sudden like literally paralyzed you. You know, I hear that all the time. And I tell people the same thing, Jamie. I'm like, you know what? Most people aren't trying to be mean. They just don't know what they don't know. And so I tell people all the time, I'm like, instead of like coming back or being defensive or like going in a shell, I'm like, just give them, educate them a little bit. Like, I'm like, I've learned that if I can go in and do that, or I'm like, well, actually, it's not like that, but I'm not defensive. People kind of open up to it. And a lot of those people end up being on your team because they're like, wait a second. And y'all, I mean, we all want to sign on Jamie, right? Like Jamie was at her friend and been like trying to help her, right? And her friend's like, no, you got to come do this. But okay, then the next thing I want to tell you, or the thing that I want to point out about Jamie as well, is that you guys, not everything happens. You don't promote every single month, right? And so sometimes I always tell people, I'm like, you have this like D-Day and it's like your decision. And all of a sudden, you guys, I swear I can like pick when people have decided. And I'm like, I will never forget it. When you're talking to people, when you're helping people, like I know, and I'm like, your business changes. It's like, if there's one thing that you can get out of tonight too, I want you to know, like being 2 feet in as opposed to like tiptoeing or having 1 foot in, it's a complete game changer. Like people sense it, people feel it. They're like, they want to come join you because they're like, she's not going to be gone tomorrow or the next month or the next month, right? And we might even have people on here too who have had their mentors. I feel like I'm like a mama hen that brings in people because I have been here for so long. So I like have my adoptees and all these people, but also know that when people quit that you joined with, it doesn't mean that's the end of your journey. Like some of the top people in our company have no enroller in our company anymore. And the other thing I want to say to that is that if your enroller is here and she's like inviting you and she's believing in you and she's texting you, like be so grateful for that. Like there's a lot of us that wish we had that, right? And so I just love pointing those things out and just even knowing you guys like a 2 year gap, right? Between triple and presidential, like good things take time, right? I know we want to see things so fast, but truly, like with our weekly bonus structure and things like that, like you should be profiting. But I want you to know, like, the good things, like not just the right now checks, but the residual income and all that stuff. You guys, it takes time, but you're going to be spending that time somewhere working hard anyways. Like, let it be towards things that you truly want and that you love in your life because we've got one shot, right? Like, we've all got one shot. And I swear, once you see it or you feel it or you start experiencing, you guys, you just cannot fit back into this box that you started in. Like you just grow outside of it. And it's the most incredible thing ever. So, okay, tell us this. Okay, so I was saying this in the beginning. Jamie, I want you to start, and I didn't even put this on your thing yet, but I do want you to talk about the power of being a product of the product because, like I said, you guys, there are so many times when people are coming in, they're like so worried about the auto ship. Okay. But I do want to tell you that if you've ever ran another business outside of something like this, the overhead is so much more than $120 a month, or, and then add in your $20 website, right? Like, but I want you to know that you guys, you need that auto ship. I don't know about you, Jamie, but it was like law. When we started, you guys, we did not have trainings. We did not have things like this. So when Jamie talks about copying the right cat, you guys, I really want to tell you that it is as simple as finding the people that are on the Monday night call or that are on our Road to VIP page that you see being highlighted or being called out and literally copying what they do and making it your own. Okay. So, and then the next thing is, so it's that action piece, but the next thing is finding the products that you absolutely love. And the only way to do that is with having an auto ship on, right? Like we don't have a closet full. I've been in for 12 years. And I have 2 auto ships that run, my husband's team and mine. And then I still have to order stuff because I'm like obsessed with everything. But being a product of the product and finding the product you love, it can be even 2 to 3 products. You literally can turn yourself into a multimillionaire in this business. So I want you to go and talk about, and you knew this, like she knew when the 30-day drop came in and we're all in the VIP thing and we're like, yeah, we want it, right? And then I told her, we were laughing because we're in this tester group and we're like, who signs up for crap like this like during the holidays? But I told her, I was like, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me, was like having that accountability and being like, yeah, I'm gonna freaking start the year at my best, which is super cool. But it was really funny. She was like, you know what? She's like, this is gonna explode my business. Like she was already calling it out there. And you guys, it has. Like, you're all over my page, you're all over my stories. Like But you're inspiring people that you don't even know you're inspiring to literally take care of themselves. So I just want you to share just the power behind being a product of the product and having your own before and afters. And again, being bold and putting yourself out there, right? Like none of us love our befores. Like there's a reason why we're taking the before and we're like working hard for the after, right? So can you just share with everybody like how important that's been and what that's done for your business?
Yeah, definitely. And it's so crazy when I remember being asked to be a product tester, and I remember like texting Stacy, and I'm like, oh, bro, like, we about to go on a run because I knew it. I knew like I just needed that. So, like, little backstory, I had lost weight before. I had lost weight before, and I was a human and I gained it back. And I want you guys to know that's okay. That's okay if that has happened to you, because you know what? We're human. We're human. And I think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that the moment we gain, so for me, I'm going to put it in my perspective. I remember still sharing my before and afters over and over, but I remember feeling like a fraud. I remember feeling that I wasn't being honest, that I wasn't being truthful because I had gained weight back, but I was still sharing my before photos. So if any of you guys feel like that, know that it's okay to feel like that, but also know the only person who can control what happens next is you. And I just needed that extra push. So it wasn't that the products weren't working. It was because I was eating chicken nuggets with my 7-year-old at 10 p.m. Okay. Like sometimes hockey's late and we grab Mickey D's, like it's just one of those things that like I wasn't being accountable for myself until I looked in the mirror and realized, Jamie, what in the heck and Bob has just gone on? And I immediately was like, the only person who can change that is myself. So when I got asked to be a product tester, I said, I'm not half button this. Okay. I am not, I have told my 7-year-old over and over, we don't half but anything in this world. Like we go all in. If we don't go all in, we don't do it. Okay. And so I said, all right, Stacy, I'm going all in. I said, every single time I've lost weight, it has taken my business tremendously to a new level. So like when I lost weight the first time, that's what took me triple diamond. That's what straight up took me triple diamond. I worked this business host to post only all the way to triple diamond, nothing else. And it was because of my results. I did the coffee host to post with my own results, and it took me all the way to triple diamond. Okay. And so just know having your own results is going to change your business, but no one's going to do that but you. You can go and share everyone else's results all you want, and that's fine. And that might get you a little bit, but there is nothing more invigorating. There's nothing more that is going to like give you the confidence and that firsthand testimony than having your own results. And it doesn't have to be weight loss. It can be hair growth. Okay. We got the best hair growth ever. We have the best skincare ever. Like we have so many things that you can take to have your own results if you don't need to go and lose weight. Right. And so for me, I decided November 6th, and I went and I got this scale from Amazon. It was $15 and it's called Renpho. Okay. If you guys want to go grab it, it's Renpho. I see it on TikTok shop all the time now. And it was $15 and it came with an app, and that app, it changed something for me. It changed, like I got to see the numbers move. And for me, I'm just someone who needs to see that, right? Like I wanted to see it. I remember seeing it at the beginning, and it gives all the things in detail. And it was like red, 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 meaning out, like bad. You should not be in that. So like for like your muscle mass and all the things that were broken down, it was all red. And I remember being like, okay, I want to see some green. And I am very blue personality. If you don't know personalities, I'm very like, I want to have the fun. I want to win challenges. I am very competitive. And so for me, I was going against myself. And I wasn't doing this for someone else. I wasn't doing it for the limelight. I was doing it for the person I saw in the mirror. And I think that's very important, because when you're trying to do it for someone else, and when you're like, oh, well, I'm going to lose weight so I can prove A, B wrong. Like, no, that's not the way to do it. You need to decide for yourself, like if you're ready to go on it, because it takes full commitment. It takes discipline, just like this business does. Like we all know to lose weight, you have do. You have to change your eating. You have to try and get active at least a couple times a week, and you need to be consistent with the products. And that's not easy to do sometimes, especially when life is crazy and being a mama, a wife, whatever, like you crazy busy. And sometimes like I just think that I had to make a decision for myself to have myself win and to be able to keep up with my 7-year-old. Like he is constantly on the go all the times outside. We're playing mini hockey downstairs every other night. Like I needed to get myself active enough so I could keep up with him in order to get him a better life too. And so I started that. I always drink the coffee, guys. The coffee is my best friend. I will never ever not drink it. It is my favorite thing in the entire world. And so the coffee is my breakfast every morning. And then I put in the 30-day drop. I'm so happy for the burn because I love the caffeine free because I'm very caffeine sensitive. So I can have 1 cup of our normal coffee a day. And then I like the TFX kind of made me jittery. Like I was like, yikes, I can't do that. And so the burn, I'm so happy for it. So that's kind of like what I did with that.
Okay, tell us what coffee, because I know people already ask, and I've asked you, and I knew I was doing the product testing with you, but tell us what's your favorite coffee? What coffee do you do?
So in the summertime, it is the Profi and the iced white chocolate. I do the Profi a ton. I love the Profi. I love that it has that protein in it because really the coffee is my breakfast every single morning. I don't eat until lunchtime. And so I love to have that protein in the morning to really hold me over. I can tell a difference when I have the iced white chocolate because it's only like 15 calories and I'm like, it's not holding me over, right? But it gives me the good amount of caffeine where I'm not tweaking. Like I cannot have skinny brew. I don't know how any of y'all drink that, but it's so good for the ones who drink multiple cups of coffee a day. They're like, I feel nothing from it. I'm like, girl, what? And so I love those two in the summer. And then in the winter, my go-to is vanilla keto coffee
Yeah.
or the normal keto coffee with chocolate greens.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy is I was vanilla creme like through and through over. I do love the white mocha cold brew because when it's hot in Phoenix, I mean, it's like triple digits. Nobody's drinking hot coffee, like not even in the mornings, you guys. But Jamie, I switched to skinny brew and I'm like, I'm telling you guys, if you have anybody who's like mom brain and they are just like the nootropics in that have changed my life. Like I'm not even, and it's crazy, but I used to, when I would drink it, I was like, no way. And then now, you guys, it doesn't even phase me. And I don't know if it's like a mix with my aloe in like how my new routine or how I'm doing it, but who knows what it is. But okay, and then you have to share. She didn't even share this. How many pounds are you down from doing this in the time that, and then tell us the time frame that you've done this.
Yes. So in 5 months, I am down 47 pounds so far. I'm
Insane.
so excited. I'm more in like a maintenance mode right now, but my goal is to just hit 50 pounds. I have this in my mind. I'm going to you have these balloons off Amazon that has 50. And like, I think of this whole thing, everything in my life,
Yeah.
you plan for the next like content that you want to do. And I'm like, okay, if I could just hit 50 pounds, like I could make a whole thing and it'd be fun. So that's what I'm
Right.
like.
Oh, that's so incredible. And you can even just tell, like, you guys, this is one of the things that I love about before and afters. First of all, I'm so glad you shared your scale because that is super cool. And I always thought that I was like, how the heck is she tracking it like that? That is so neat. So if you guys didn't get the name of that, what was it? Renpho?
Renpho. Yep.
Renpho.
Renpho.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So you guys can have that if you want something that tracks it. But you guys, one of my favorite things about before and afters is like the confidence. Like you can literally feel through the picture how much better people feel, right? Like it's not even about the numbers sometimes, but and I tell our girls, like, even in the beginning, I'm like, you're gonna start noticing like your energy's better. And when you start showing up better in your day and you're more active, then all of a sudden your clothes are fitting better. And then the scale starts to move and do the things. So yeah, and so just share, like, what has that done for your business? Like, what, I mean, you've got to be bringing in customers like left and right with your before and afters. You share them over and over, which is incredible. Like, I tell them all the time, I'm like, you don't need a new one. Like, once you have before and afters, you guys, and I mean, again, we've been here a long time, right? Like 8 years, you guys, that's a long time. 12 years. Like, I've been through many seasons of life, right? Now I'm going into the 40s and I'm like, oh, I'm sure we're going to have hormones and we're going to do this. But I'm so freaking thankful for the product line that we have because I'm like, it has literally kept me healthy through every stage of life. And so anyways, I want you just to share like what that has truly done to your enrollments, and like it's like there's no convincing, right? You kind of just show your picture and they're like, I want it.
Yeah, that's kind of really how it is. Like, no joke. I think for me, it's been, I'm so glad I took all the before photos. I'm all the before videos. That is one
Yeah.
thing I regretted the time before that when I lost weight. I hated how I looked. So I was not taking any photos of myself. I just wanted to lose the weight. And then I said, I'll take all the photos. And that's wrong. Like that I'm so glad, like, honestly, it taught me, gaining the weight back, it taught me something. And it was take the before photos, like take them, no matter, you don't have to share them, but like have them. And so I had a ton. And actually, I had a girl who just started her weight loss journey today. And she's like, what's your advice? And I'm like, take the before photos. You
Yeah.
do not have to share them, but like try on 27 outfits and have 27 different photos. Take the before videos, okay? Do it. You don't have to go back and look at them, but go and take them because you will be so grateful later on. And for me, I see the numbers on the scale, but something that pushes me a lot more is to the side by sides. So I use the PicsArt, and I would have the before. I put all 27 photos in there with the half of it done, and then I was able to go back, try those outfits on when I maybe felt a little better. I'd go try them on and see. And because for me, I have that thing called body dysmorphia. So you like think, oh yeah, you lost weight, I feel like I should look better. And then in your head, you're like, oh, I don't feel like I look better. But then when I go and put things side by side, I was like, dang, okay, I can see a difference. And so that is my biggest piece of advice for you guys is take the before photos. You don't have to share them yet, but you will thank me later once you do.
Okay, and then that brings up one last piece on this is you didn't wait to lose 47 pounds before you started sharing.
Yeah.
Like I try to explain this and I'm like, you guys don't understand that when you get loud about what you're doing and you're not there yet, this is not even just in before and afters, but in business in general. You guys, like that is honestly part of your most powerful piece of your journey is like truly taking people along. Like I mean, I got to start with you, right? Like we were like, here we are, November, we're supposed to be eating like mashed potatoes and all this stuff. And it's like you literally have said it. Like you've just kept showing up as you were genuinely not you weren't at your where you wanted to be yet. And so just share a little bit about kind of how you did that. And I'm sure it helped knowing like last time when you brought people along what it did for your business, but I just think it's important for people to know like don't wait to get loud once you're where you're at. Like, and I
Yeah.
mean that in every stage of life, you guys. Like, literally, like people genuinely love to love you where you're at, but they also love to join you so they can go along with you.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. The strangers were the biggest supporters. Honestly, it's the
Crazy.
people I had no. You know what was so wrong? So I stopped drinking in November because I was like committed. I'm like, you know what? If I'm doing this, I'm going all in. I'm a beer girl, Minnesota, like that's just me. And so I said, I'm gonna stop drinking for until I hit my goal weight of 50 pounds down. And I remember like my friends and family when we would go to the holidays, like, oh, just do it. It's fine. One cheat meal. And I'm like, no, I'm for real. But like when I was posting my stuff online, I had the stranger saying, you go, girl. Like, way to go. I'm so proud of you. Like, I see you showing up. Actually, like, just show any amount of weight because you have to remember not everyone wants to lose 47 pounds. Some people just want to
Mhm.
lose 5 pounds. Some people just want to lose an extra 10 pounds and they're good. And then if they go and they see 47 pounds, they're like, well, I only need to lose 10 pounds. Like, I don't know if I want to lose that much, right? Like, it's the both sides. And so I actually had the girl who she started her weight loss. She hit 5 pounds down today, and she has the Renfo app. She sent me it this morning. She was so excited, guys. Like people can read your excitement, just like Sarah's been saying over and over and over. People can read your excitement. They know if you're just doing the task. They know if you're
Mhm.
just checking them off. They know if you're just posting because your upline told you to post. They know if you're just copying, pasting, not actually putting any thought into anything. People know. Okay. We are in 2024. People, you know what I heard? The word of 2023 was authenticity. That was the word of 2023. People want to see people in their real, true form. And that was something I took from that. And I was like, all right, well, I feel like I have nothing to share right now, but like if I do this for myself, like I know I can be authentic and I can show myself. So it wasn't, like I said earlier, I wasn't doing it for anyone else, but I will tell you, posting it online kept my butt accountable. Okay, because it was the moment I didn't share. I had some stranger message me and they said, what is your weight today? Like what's your update today? Like I didn't share, I only shared my weight maybe once a week or something, but they would be like, I would always talk on my stories. I'd say, hey guys, I'm so excited, I'm feeling good, I'm down 3 pounds. Like, and I shared I was down 3 pounds for an entire week. I shared when I had gained 2 pounds because that's also normal. You can lose it and you can gain it throughout the time. It's not just a downward slope. Like it is going to be this. Okay. Like just know that. And I think for me, that was so important with my business because then people got to see I was a real person and they followed. I have people who have just been invested. I'm sure you do, Sarah, too. Of like, I have people who've been invested 8 years, who have literally watched for 8 years and be like, okay, I think I'm ready. And you're like, 8 years later, are you kidding me? Like, but it's so true. People just want to know that you're real, that you're taking this business real. And that my other piece of advice, when you get customers and you're telling them what they should be doing in order to get the results from the products, are you doing what you're saying? Are you doing what you're saying? Are you getting active like you're telling them? Are you having a healthier lifestyle like you're telling them? Because if you're not, you're a hypocrite, right? Like you need to know, like you can't have the cake and eat it too, right? Like you have to do the work and then people are going to believe you. And then you're able to like tell them, hey, my favorite meal is the Healthy Choice frozen meals. They're 250 calories. The spaghetti and meatballs is my favorite one. Okay. That is firsthand exactly what I have. That's my go-to for lunch. So when people ask me, Jamie, what's your favorite meal? I can tell them. I'm not like, ooh, I don't know. I had chicken nuggets at 10 p.m. I don't know. Like, no, I am for real about my answers because I take the product myself 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's what you learn, you guys, about finally shouting things out, even though you're not there yet, is like that accountability actually makes you a better person. And it might be complete strangers. And I tell my girls that all the time. I'm like, some of your best friends aren't even your friends yet. Like, I'm like, and and a lot of them now I've been here for so long that I'm like, remember that's how we met? It's probably because I friended you. And then I was like, oh, I really like her vibe. And then I was, interacting and I'm like, like, I'm a genuine person. Like you are still genuine when you're being intentional. And so, I just love that. And I just feel like that's so important to hear, you guys, because we're going to talk about these needle moving tasks, right? And things that we do consistently, because obviously she's from a very small town. She's 8 years, you guys, we're outside of the people we know, right? And that's a good thing. Even if you're here and you're new and you're like, well, don't you run out of people? You guys, I thought you did too. Like, I'm not kidding. I was like, I don't know, and I was like, this is great while it lasts. Like, wow, my network's bigger than I thought it was because I actually did use social media and I shared those things, even though I was nervous. Like, people kind of come out of the woodwork. But what I want you to know is that if you do some of these tasks that we're going to talk about, that Jamie's going to share too, you guys, you will never run out of people. And the coolest thing about our business and our products and our company is that you guys, they don't bring on products just like that are, supposed to be shining in the light for a little bit. Like everything they're bringing in, there is thought, there's science behind it. It is stuff that they know people are we have products that they know they're going to use every day. Nobody just wants to drink coffee for a month. Like that's weird. Why would you only drink coffee for a month? Or why would you only take your greens for a month? So they are bringing in us products that people are going to use daily, which is great because that brings you a sustainable business. So, and obviously Jamie and I have been here for how long? You guys, we've been here longer than some people have been at their like jobs, right? Where you think that that's like so much more stable than taking a chance like this. Like I remember when I hit past the time I was at the hospital as a nurse, which was almost 11 years, I was like, oh my gosh, like I love that I can say that. So, okay, we want to know Presidential Diamond. Like, yeah, everybody wants to be there, right? Because there's a lot of freedom that comes with that. There's a lot of things that come with Presidential Diamond. But can you just share with us, like, what are those needle moving tasks that you do consistently that have built your business? So they're like your non-negotiables because you know that they are income producing.
Yeah, definitely. So we as a team on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we do a 6:30 a.m. work Zoom, and I do that from 6:30 to 7. That is a non-negotiable. I'm on that because I want a resource for people, okay? Not just for myself, but for people before they go to their job at 8 a.m. that they can jump on and get their business done, right? Because done is better than perfect. It doesn't matter how it's done,
Mhm.
right? And so, and I know how I felt after working a 12-hour shift. I was exhausted and didn't want to work. And most people, and I didn't have a kid at that time. So I cannot only imagine working a full-time job, coming home, making supper, and then having to do bath time and homework and all the things. You're exhausted. So by the time you sit down, you want to veg and do nothing, right? And so my biggest advice is get up 30 minutes earlier. You're not going to want to. You're going to be like, oh, I hate this. But like it will help you with your business. If you struggle with getting tasks done, with being consistent, try it. Try it. Don't do 7 days a week. I will tell you, if you have, don't do that. 3 days is what I say: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I can commit to that, especially the summer, because guys, summer is busy. We all, not anyone is more busy than someone else. Okay. We all are busy. We all got stuff going on. But like the people who are going to prioritize some time in their business now are the people who are going to continue to win into the fall whenever green carpet comes. And then the people who aren't, they're going to be struggling at green carpet, and they're going to be wishing that they just prioritize just 3 days a week. Okay. I'm not saying all 7 days. I'm saying 3 days. Prioritize yourself and your business. And that one will change your entire business. So that is my first needle moving task, because when you can decide when you will schedule time for this business, then you will actually do this business. I can't give you this task of like what helps my business if you aren't going to actually take the time to put in the work, right? So the next thing I do is host a post. Okay. I know, I'm sure you guys like do the same thing we do. Like I was really close really with Jenica. And so like I've learned a lot. I'm not green personality whatsoever, but she has taught me how to be green personality. But she taught me, one, if I know something, it is be around others who take you to a higher level. Okay. So for me, like she is someone who took me to a higher level, and she told me, no, because I was telling her, oh, I need to do 5 host posts. That's my goal. And she said, no, numbers show it's 10 and 2. For every 10 conversations, you're going to get 2 potentials. And I was like, okay, now I got it. So like for me, that's kind of what I aim for is 10. If I don't beat myself up, but 5 is my minimum. There is no day that goes by, Monday through Friday, okay, that I do not get 5 up. And 10 is what I aim for, but if it's not, it is 5. Okay. The next thing, and what's working for our team right now is the heart hap. I don't know if you know what that one is, Sarah. If not, I can send it over to you. It's the heart hap that's like, if you knew you couldn't fail, the blue heart's like 5 pounds, the pink heart's like 10 pounds, some whatever that is. I can send that over to you.
Yeah.
That's the host post we use for all of it. Like there is no other hosted post. We don't do the like giveaway or one or anything. It's just pure because it's working. And obviously if it wasn't working, we would be pivoting. I will say for every 30, this is the numbers I get from her, for every 30 hosted posts that you do, that's where you can evaluate if that hosted post is working. Get 30 hosted posts of one type up and then evaluate. Okay. What's going on, right? Am I getting comments? Am I getting feedbacks? Like what is happening? And if you're doing the business correctly, that should only take you 3 days, right? So 3 days of your week, okay, like yeah, so you can find out if it's working or not. If not, you pivot on to the next. So the next needle moving task is before and afters. And it is not just my own before and afters on my page. I am sharing others because I want others to relate. Not everyone can just relate to how my body type is, how I look, what I've lost. I want people to relate to all body types, to all types of people. Okay. I want someone to come to my page and be able to see, oh, wow, she looks like me. I relate to that. Okay, now I'm interested, right? And so that's why I don't share just my own. Yes, my own results are very important, but it's important in the confidence, but it's also important to share other people's. And guys, we have so many people with such amazing results, and it's not just weight loss. I will say my niche is weight loss. Like that's where like people can come to my page and know that I drink coffee like crazy. But if it's not for you, if you're doing hair care, show that. If you're doing skincare, show that. Like find something for you and go all in. So the before and afters, the next thing is you have to get new eyes on your business. Like that is a non-negotiable, because if you're trying to stay in the same, I tell my girls this, you guys have a funnel. Okay. Your funnel is like this. And if you keep having the funnel the same amount, you're still going to like continue to produce the same amount. My goal every single day is 10 new conversations. This is not 10 follow-ups. This is 10 brand new conversations. Why? Because it's going to take my funnel from here to here. And then imagine the amount of influx. It's just a numbers game, guys. Like literally think about it. A funnel of this versus a funnel of this. I want this one instead, because it's going to be easier. The more that you're putting before and afters and sealing the deal, you have more eyes on your business. And so for me, how do I get eyes on my business? That's the question I get. Okay, Jamie, like I get the funnel, but how do you get more eyes? Reels. Okay. Reels and host to post. I will tell you both of them because one is not better than the other. Do not do reels and stop host to post, and do not do host to post without reels. Do both. And the reason why is because you never know when a reel is going to take off. That is the one thing that is uncontrollable. I love reels. Reels have taken me from triple to pres. That's honestly all I've done for the past probably 2 years. I have not put up one host to post until I realized if I want to lead my girls and tell them to get 5 to 10 up, I need to be leading as a leader, and I need to be doing what I'm preaching. I'll never tell my girls to do something that I'm not willing to do. And so for me, I did start doing that in March. I was so afraid for a long time that it would hurt my algorithm, but it has not whatsoever. So I realized like do both, because like I said, reels are not controllable. So you can put up reels all day long, but like you may not get the kind of like action you want from them. But host to post, man, that is bread and butter. That is truly how you can go and like get customers, right? And then you're able to pivot with that stuff. You try 30, find out what it is. Try another 30, find out what it is. But you are going to be having new conversations with host to post. So that's why I always say, don't do host to post and not reels, but don't do reels and not host to post. Do both.
Yeah. Okay, there's a few questions. So what is your main platform that you use on social media? It's
Facebook.
so funny, but we all want to know. Like, it's like, what do people use, you know?
Facebook.
So you use Facebook?
Yep.
Yeah. And then Instagram and that kind of stuff. But when you're doing your host to post, you're host to posting on Facebook.
Yep.
You're not like doing host to post through stories or different things like that. Here's what I want to share with you guys about that. Like, it's funny because Instagram's like my favorite platform because I feel like there's not as much like weird stuff that's in there. But the truth is 12 years later, like Facebook is still where I get so many people. And so I tell them, I'm like, just work smarter, not harder, right? Like, even if you guys are doing reels, like if you're doing them on Instagram and that's there, like still go pop it off on TikTok and go pop it off on Facebook. Like it takes 2 seconds to go share it in new places, because the truth is, you guys, is you're going to start seeing where you do get the most traction. But also like people are on different platforms. So like if you've already made the reel, like use it to your utmost. But I do love that you shared that, because you guys, you don't know when reels are going to pop off. Like I have one that's going off and I literally do it on Instagram and I share it to my Facebook. I just got a thing the other day on Facebook, or it was today when I was going through my messaging, and it's like, hey, you have a reel that's doing well. And I'm like, that's weird. Like I haven't shared one for a minute. And then I'm like, it's like one from like over 2 months ago, you guys. So that is the really cool thing. Like if you feel my team knows I'm a story girl. Like I show my face, I talk on my stories. I feel like people get to know who I am and I can build relationships really fast that way. But I always say to them, I'm like, when you're looking and you want your content to actually have a lifespan longer than 24 hours, or for many of you, like on Facebook, you guys, people don't see stuff till like sometimes 5 days after you posted. I mean, I see some of my team and I'm like, what? That was 5 days ago. Like I started paying attention. So first of all, like don't don't do the things for likes or for like the number of interact, like do it because you know that you hear it over and over on Zooms and it truly works. Like eventually it's bringing people in, it's going to bring you interested people. It's the same thing with before and afters. I tell my team all the time, I'm like, it's not one of those pretty aesthetic posts, but can I just tell you it's been working for 12 years. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's one of those things that it may not look glamorous, but it works, you guys. Like it works. So like if you want to do your time and spend it well, like you got to be showing before and afters. And like Jamie said, it's not just I don't just use my own. She doesn't just use her own. We have so many people watching our stuff. Like you are doing yourself a disservice if you're not sharing other people's because no one looks alike, right? And so I think that that's super important too. I'm trying to see what some of these. Jamie has 150,000 followers on Facebook from Reels. Jamie, when is that when you noticed like your followers started to really pop off is when you started doing Reels?
Yeah, I did not have these followers before. This is where I say do not live in comparisonville because I all the way to triple diamond, I did not have followers. The only reason I started gaining followers is because here's my Dutch self, okay? Everyone started doing TikTok and like doing the reels. I was doing some TikTok, whatever, dabbling there. And then they said, oh, like go to reels and you can make some money. And I was like, yeah, okay. And they're like, no, but go to reels and you can make some real money. And I was like, Dutch, I am so Dutch. Yes, I will do it. So then I started, and that's honestly the only reason why I really started going hard on reels because I knew you could make some extra money. And so that's where it started because I had like, just like everyone else, I feel like I had like 3,000 friends on Facebook or whatever. But when I really started with reels and like taking it, and it wasn't that I wasn't posting 5 times a day. I wasn't posting all this crazy stuff. I was posting my before and afters. And I was being very loud about my before and afters. And that's what made my reels blow up. That's what got me, literally the month I went presidential, I signed 275 customers. Like
That
insane
is
from
wild.
reels. Yeah, from reels. I
Wild.
remember in December, I was maintaining double diamond and I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. And just like Sarah said, in January, I'll never forget because my son and I both got COVID at the exact same time. And of course, because we're literally together all the time.
Yeah.
And I got COVID. And I remember laying in bed and one of my reels that I put up in October of my before and after started to pop off and it was going crazy. And I was like, what is going on? I'm getting all these messages. And I remember I went from double diamond, paid us double diamond in December. I signed 175 customers in January, re-ranked to my triple, signed 100 or 200 customers in February. And then I was like, wait, I think I could go presidential. Like, this is crazy. And then in March, I went presidential and signed 275 customers. Now, I will tell you that is not something that you want to do. Like, I don't ever win. Like, it's great and all, but that's not my goal every month. I'm not like, I want to sign 270. Like, yes, that's great. But like, I was working nonstop. And so I want that residual income where like, I can
Yeah.
show my results. I can do this like for me and not feel like I was like pressured of like I have all these conversations. And at the time it's crazy because I still like get all these these messages now from like years ago and you're like what are you doing Instagram? Like why aren't you showing my like sometimes I don't know if you have that problem but
Yeah,
sometimes
I
I get
do.
some from years ago.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre. And then okay, so tell me this, do you do what's like your funnel? So when somebody sees your reels or TikToks, like do you have a call to action or do you have it where it goes to your phone or how do you do that? So that they
Yeah,
know
so
like have
I
an idea to
do
funnel. Because you have to have
yeah.
something, you guys. You have to tell your people, like, don't just throw random things, like tell them what you want them to do so that they can get the info.
Yeah, we're doing with my girls right now, we're doing a reels challenge. And on there, like we're doing one reel a day and I'm telling them what to do. But like guys, you gotta look at your reels and like you gotta know if they look good or not, because there are some reels that you have to look at other people's reels and see, like, if you make a reel, have you ever seen someone else do a reel like that? And you have to be very aware of that. So like the text on it can't be diagonal. It has to be straight across. You have to be able to read your text, right? Like you have to have clear content. You have to have, it cannot have the black cropped on it. It has to take up the entire screen. Like there, I like told my girls, I'm like, I feel like I could do a Zoom on just like how to create reels, because it's true. There is some kind of like things that you can do to help your reels just look better. But for me, I use a funnel to Instagram from TikTok. If you've ever tried to message on TikTok, you can't do it. Like I have no idea. And so I always message, and for me, call to actions and a hook, so important for your reels. So a hook is what is going to draw them in, right? Like for me, I'm like, watch me lose 45 pounds in 5 months, right? Or look at what me and my bestie did, or like watch this transformation, something to hook them in, right? Like a fish, like hook them in, right? And then at the end, I always say, message me on my Insta, and in parentheses, I put my handle. Okay. I'm not getting down views because I do that. And I've done it now for years and years. And then, so I always do that. And even on Facebook, like, so I'll just save that photo and like put it on. I always make all my videos on TikTok because you can save them with the music. Okay. Easy peasy. My favorite filter is on TikTok. So I make all of mine on TikTok. And then I go and I save it. Now that you guys can save it before you go and upload it, you can save it. And that's without the watermark. Genius. So then I go and I upload to Facebook and I upload to Instagram, and I still, even the ones on Facebook, sometimes they say message me on Instagram, and it's like whatever, but normally I try to funnel to Instagram to really kind of help that.
Okay, that's awesome. So you bring them over to your Instagram, which brings you the people over there and the messages, and it seems like it works even when you have like a big amount coming through. That's good. Okay, so we were on 3. That was growing your network, which you talked about. Well, you guys, and that is so important. Like I always tell my girls, if you feel like things are slow, you got to grow your network. Like or when they're like, I talk to everybody. You got to grow your network. Girl, you have not talked to everybody. I promise you, you guys, like, do not ever let yourself fall for that trap, because you're going to end up annoying yourself, like, honestly. So that was the growing your network, doing the reels and the host to post. And then what were your tasks? Do you have tasks after that, or those 3 are kind of like your top 3?
Yeah, so I do the daily 6. That's pretty normal. That's kind of like what we go through in the morning. It is posting, story slides, personal development. Right now we're doing a 7-day content challenge, and that's kind of fun. I don't know if you've ever listened to Kristen Boss. She's really big on podcasts, and she does this 7-day content thing to help your engagement and grow. And it's $1. So all of us on my team are doing this one right now, just as a team, like for the fun of it, to grow your engagement. Mm-hmm. And so we're doing that. And then we have posting, stories, personal development, messaging for HAP. That's so huge. Adding to your network. And what would be the last one? There's 6 of them. Posting, story sites, personal development, follow up.
Oh, okay. I was like, maybe interacting.
Yes, that too. That's it. Okay, I think the messaging for host of messaging is all in one.
Yeah, right. It has follow up. It has host to post. It has like, you guys, there's money in the message. I say this all the time. They know, they're like annoyed with me at this point. I'm like, if you're not messaging, you're missing money.
Yes.
Okay. So interacting. Yeah. And so wait, there was one other question I thought I saw on here. You guys,
I call it intentional scrolling. So I get to have like the fun of like still scrolling, but I still I'm intentionally working my business. So I can go on there and I can scroll and I can add and I can comment and I can like and I can message for host to post. One thing that Jenica and I have kind of been working out is literally we're finding the numbers of people responding back to us is way higher if you are interacting on their posts before you message them. So if you're going and commenting on 3 different posts of theirs, actually commenting, not liking, commenting wow, I love this. Like, where'd you get your top? Or your hair looks so good. Honestly, for a long time, I was like, I don't know what to say. If you go to Google and you type in compliments, like compliment ideas, there's a lot of good ones on there. And like, don't feel ashamed because that was me. I was like, I don't know how to compliment. And now I feel like I'm really good at it. And so I was that girl who was like, if someone would compliment me, I'd be like, happy birthday. Because I am not good at taking compliments. But going and commenting on 3 things before you message them, because guys, this is what's going to happen. They're going to see you comment and they're going to be like, who is this girl? And they're going to go look at your stuff, and then they're going to realize I'm a real person because I post about me and I don't look like a billboard. Like, I'm not salesy, right? I'm not a magazine ad. And then they're going to see I message them and they're going to know, okay, well, she's real. So like, yeah, I'll respond. So that was super huge.
Yeah. And when you're messaging, where do you message from for your host to post? You're on Facebook. That's where you're messaging and doing the
Yep.
asks. Do you message Greenlight? Do you have multiple ways that you message?
Just from the home page,
Homepage.
just
Okay.
scrolling. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you guys, interacting, like it's more than just interacting. It's like I tell the girls, I'm like, that's where I get my potentials list, even for distributors of people who I want in my business and then I'm gonna go invite. And I'm like, I'm inviting them and I'm not even expecting a response. But what I'm hoping for is like eyes on my page to be like, what is she up to? Because we know it takes a little bit of time, right? I mean, you guys could even put in the chat here, like, how long did you watch somebody? I really didn't watch very long. So I'm not a good example. I was like, dude, I'm just going for it. Like, I spend $99 on a lot of other things that I never see. So it didn't take me long. But you guys, I just want you to know, like, if you're actually putting in these tasks and you're doing them, like you can't keep hearing the same things from people who, I mean, my goodness, she had that many people. Like you hear 275 and like she said, that's not her goal every single month. That's crazy, right? Like you're like, I couldn't breathe. But you now know to yourself, like you can get 10. Actually, let's say 12, because then you earn 3 PM bonuses. Like we're not even going for 10, right? But it's like you can, if you decide to wake up 3 days 30 minutes early and you put in the tasks and you do the work. Like you can do those things. You will have new numbers. You will see yourself growing. So, last thing, I want to ask you this, and you kind of talked about your tasks. Tell people just what your day kind of looks like. Cause I think so many times, like people were asking some of their top questions were like, what does your typical day look like? Which we know you wake up early, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it's just so showing, because I tell people this all the time. I'm like, we built to where we are and we've mentored and we learned to coach people to also do the same thing. But like when people tell me like I'm glued to my phone or I feel like I'm this, I'm like, then you're not using your time wisely, right? And obviously you're doing this full time and have been since Diamond, which is awesome. So can you just kind of share a little bit of your intentionality of what you do and what your day looks like?
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing is really big, was big for me. Look at your screen time. Okay, go, if you have an iPhone, go to settings, type in screen time. When I saw your questions, I went and I looked at my screen time from today, 2 hours. 2 hours I was on my phone. Okay, that's it all day long. Okay, but that doesn't mean I was not intentional. I was so intentional. I was so intentional. But some days are going to be 7 hours, some days are 5 hours. But like, if I were at a full-time job, I would be there 12 hours and that was multiple days. Like, it's crazy. I always say to my girls, I need you guys, this is what I need you guys to do. What you're making at your job, okay? If you're working a full-time job, what are you making and how many hours? Okay. And then at the end of the week, what does that add up to? Right. And so now I want you guys to think, how many hours are you doing at Works? Like how many hours are you giving at Works? And what is your paycheck? And then I like to do the division on that. Like, and be truthful. Like that's where I say, go look at your screen time. And when you look at your screen time, don't look at Facebook, because Facebook ain't making you money. What's making you money? What should be that top priority is Messenger. That is my top thing. Every time I look at my screen time, it is Messenger, because posting isn't going to pay you. What's going to pay you is what are you getting entered into the system, meaning how many conversations are you having? Like this is network marketing, meaning we need to be networking and having conversations. So for me, like I can post all day long, but that is not my intention every single day. My intention is to hopefully be on Messenger the most amount of time, because that's where I know I'm having conversations. And so I normally wake up in the morning and the first thing I always do, okay, it's kind of backwards. So every night is when I send my messages. So then I wake up in the morning with a win. You guys need to be setting yourself up with a win, because if you wake up in the morning and you got negative, okay, like then it's just not fun and you're already not wanting to do this business. But if you wake up to your inbox with 4 or 5 people who want to like have information or something, you're like, yeah, I'm so excited. Okay. So that is for me mentally, I need to have that win. So I always send messages for host to post or for product models, whatever, at night. So then in the morning, I can wake up to a win. So I always check my messages after well, the first thing I do is make my coffee and I do my stories on my story slides. It takes like literally a couple minutes. I talk on my stories every day. There will be very rarely that you ever go to my page and not see me making coffee and me talking about it. And then with that, you can also make a reel with that or whatever. It takes just a couple minutes once you get the hang of things. And so I do that. And then I go to my messenger. That's normally where I start responding to team, making sure that they're good to go, because I know if they're good to go, then I can start working on my own stuff, right? I want to make sure they're good. And then I go to my messenger and I start responding in there. And then that's normally when my son is at school. Now here in the summer, it's a little bit different because he does still go to like daycare. For me, guys, I have to treat this like a full-time job. If I want a full-time paycheck, I need to make sure that I'm still getting my work in. And he knows that. And I know that. If we want to do fun things, like he can go do field trips and have his fun. But I also, mommy needs to get her work done. Just like when Zooms, he knows Zooms are very important to me because this is mommy's time to get my work done. And we're on the same page with that. You have to be on the same page with people. Otherwise, people are going to start resenting this business. They're going to be like, oh, she's always on her phone. But if you can be open and you can say, mommy's working really hard. And like a lot of times I'll do a prize of like, buddy, if I can get just one customer this week, we can go get you some football cards. And he's like, yeah, mommy, don't do that. Like just be on the same page. It's like, like just have fun with it. Right. I include him in a lot of the times. Like he'll make coffee with me. He'll go and take photos with me. Like I really try to make sure he's involved with me too, because this ain't just a me show. Like my life includes him too. And so I try to get everyone on the same page. And so I do the messages, and then I always say, anytime I use the restroom, I add 10 people. Anytime I go pee, I add 10 people. I have been doing the same thing for the past 5 years. I implemented that 5 years ago. Anytime I go pee, I add 10 people, and it's like every single time. And if you think about it, how many times do you go pee in a day? Okay, that's 5, 6 times, whatever you end up doing. You're adding 50, 60 people a day. Like, guys, just don't overthink it. Like, it takes 10 seconds. Go do that, right? So that's kind of like what my day kind of looks like.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I do love that you shared, like, there are going to be some days that you've put in, and you don't do you do 2 hours straight?
No way, not at
No
all.
way. See? You guys, nobody does that. Like you're literally never going to hear somebody that sits down and does that for that long. Like no one does that. And so we just make sure that we're putting it in there. And if you need a list so that you can check it off to hold yourself accountable, like Jamie has games for herself. Like I love, because you're like, I'm blue. I'm like, you're blue. Because she's like, every time I go pee, like everything is a game to her. And so you got to know how your mind works too. And knowing what your color is super important, I think, too. And you can take the personality test, which I think is awesome. But just doing those things and knowing the importance behind them, right? And so when people are telling you, like, you want to be in conversation, because that's where conversion happens. Like, that's just what it is, you guys. And honestly, conversations are fun because the conversion, and when you can actually start intentionally building, you guys, that is fun. Like it almost feels crazy that we have the ability to do that with this business, right? The one thing I want to ask, one more question, then we're gonna let you go, because I just looked and I was like, oh my gosh, it's 7:15. Okay, so they were asking for you to get up 10 host to post. How many, like, pretty consistently, like how many messages you feel like you're sending for like the asks for host to post?
Yeah,
A
it's
day?
about 100 for me. Yeah, it's about 100. I will say everyone's going to be a little bit different depending on how long you've been in the business, and every day is a little bit different. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I can message 40 people and get my 10 up. but sometimes it's going to take me 100 to get my 10 up. I think every day is just a little bit different. For me, I don't try to look at how many messages I've sent. I just look at getting 10 up. No matter what that takes for me is like just getting 10 up. And some days it's 100, some days it's 40. Like so, every single day is just a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's the difference in her probably her time spent. Some days it's 2 hours, some days it's a little bit longer. And based on what your goal is, I mean, that's going to change things too. I always said, like, when I was promoting to some of those bigger ranks and you have so many pieces moving, you're going to spend a little bit more time. But again, you guys, I look back and same thing. Like my family, I always include them and have them on board. Like my family knows Wednesday nights, like, yes, we're on vacation, but we get to be here for 6 weeks because mama does this, right? Like, and I can do it from anywhere. And it is literally an hour a night, an hour. And that's why I tell you guys, I'm like, you guys, we do this every Wednesday. Plan for it. Like, plan to be poured into, plan to have steal belief from people that are at the top and know that this business works and it's sustainable and all those things, right? You deserve that. And so Jamie, thank you so much. I feel like they're like still just wanting to pick your brain and I love it. So I might still have to ask you a few more questions, but I don't want to take any more time from you because I am so appreciative and I know they are too. They were so excited. I was like, and it was so funny because I say your name and I have your beautiful picture up. And then I was like, and then I showed, I'm like, this is Jamie. And everyone was like, oh, and it's like you're before. And I'm like, yeah, this is the famous Jamie, you guys. So if there's one last tip that you would give them, what would it be?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a talker, so I'm sorry that I know
No,
we probably went way
I
over.
we appreciate that. Look at them. They're like, can we get a part two?
So for me, I would say decide. Decide like what you want out of this business and like know what you're going for. And like if you aren't a blue personality, kind of figure out what you are because like you have to know why you're doing this business. Because if you're just doing this business just to do it, like you're not going to actually do it, right? But like know what this is going for. Like know, oh hey, I have an electric bill, it's $200, this is where it's going. Oh hey, I want to get my nails done, it's $150, that's what I want that money for. I'm going to work really hard. Like know exactly why you're doing this business and then decide. And like decide tonight. Like drop a number one. If you are deciding tonight, like you are going to wake up tomorrow. Actually, you probably, I mean, I don't know what time it is there. If you said 7:15, that is early. You guys got a lot of work you can do for the rest of the night. But decide tonight what you want. And if you are all in, and then you have to allow yourself for the next 90 days. Do not give yourself just 1 month and then decide if you're in or out. It is a 90-day commitment, and you guys can do 90 days. 90 days is what, until green carpet? I think that's literally
Yeah,
90
it
days
like brings
away.
us there.
Like
Huh.
that, decide, hey, I'm going all in till green carpet, and I'm going to do that for myself because I deserve that. I deserve that. Not doing it for someone else. I'm doing it because I want that for me. And I'm telling you, it will change your entire business. But I will tell you, I'm telling you to decide because guess what? You're going to wake up tomorrow and maybe your kid's going to get sick and you're not going to want to do this business. You're going to wake up tomorrow and maybe your boss ain't nice and you're not going to want to do this business. You're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be a rainy day and you are not going to actually want to do this business. But I'm telling you, you got to put your discipline pants on. Okay. This is not about motivation here. You'll never hear me speak about how motivation got me where I am today. No, it is discipline. And I have been so disciplined. But like at one point, I was where I was feeling like this is not for me, where I don't think I can do this. Maybe I wasn't where I wanted to be in my business. But at the end of the day, no one was going to do it for me. I didn't have an upline who was like, sure, you have a customer, here you go. Like I
Yeah.
never, ever, not once ever got a distributor placed under me, never once had a customer placed under me. I knew if I wanted it, I was going to do it myself and I wasn't going to do it. And I wasn't going to wait for someone else to tell me what to do. Like I wasn't waiting for an upline to tell me, go post this, like go send this message to 10 people. I didn't have that. You have to have some sort of self discipline in order for this business to be truly successful, because it is not on someone else for your business to be successful. This is your business. If you want this business to reflect what you want it, you got to put in the behind the scenes, the days when you don't want it, because there are going to be more days than not that you don't want to do this business. You have to decide, okay, is this what I want? And if it is, and you have a strong enough why, you will do this business. You'll do it. It's going to be second nature. Whether you know what to do or not, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it imperfect, and it's going to be okay, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. The more confident you're going to get at it. You're going to get better and more perfect the more you do it. But just start at start, put one foot in front of the other. If that looks like getting up just 3 host to post rather than 0, that's 3. And this business is going to meet you where you are. And then guess what? The next day you try for 5, and you have a competition against yourself every single day, because that's the only person you are going to be battling is yourself and this brain right here, because this brain will take you out. The comparison game will take you out every single time. So just know, if you ever have those thoughts, say, Jamie told me, go listen to some personal development, go listen to some positive stuff, because there are some negative people in this world, and like, do not let them take your dreams out, because like, you have one life to live, and like that, no one else is gonna like do it for you. So definitely my piece of advice.
And if you learn how to do it, nobody can take it from you. So, I mean,
Yes.
that's another powerful piece of it. So thank you so, so much, Jamie. I might have to pop back in and just get answer some more of these questions, or ask you so they can get their answers. But dang, we appreciate you spending the night with us tonight. And I'm so excited to come meet your team on Monday.
I cannot wait to.
Okay, have a good night, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.